Hi everybody, it's week 10. I'm Professor Messner, and so here is our weekly overview. Second part of chapter 23, all of chapter 24, and a good portion of chapter 25. So, the part of chapter 23 that you're going to be reading this week starts off talking about automobiles. And it's certainly going to be talking about suburbanization, it's going to be talking about tourism, and the other things that sprang up as a result of us having what the text calls automobility. So you probably want to think about how much your life has been changed by the fact that we have cars just because they're there, but also because of the way that you use them. And the fact that this started in the 1920s in earnest in California is worth looking at. The fact that in California there's not a whole lot of seasonal deterrents. There aren't a whole lot of reasons why you can't go anyplace in California at any time during the year. Of course, there are some exceptions, but it's certainly different in California than it is in a lot of different states. The other main topic in chapter 23, the portion that you're reading of this week, is the movie business. Why California and Southern California in particular was such a great place to make movies is something that the text is going to talk about. So I'd like you to take a look at that. And in the bibliography of this chapter is a whole bunch of further reading if you're curious about that. Going on to chapter 24, we go on to issues of power and water, and really how much humankind can control nature to generate power, and how you use water to generate power, and how the scarcity of water impacts our population. So, inasmuch as we're experiencing a drought of some kind these days, you probably want to take a look at the history that we've had of droughts that's touched on in that chapter and that will be revisited again. And then the book goes into some great material on John Muir, who's one of the real heroes of California history. It's he that comes to the United States from Scotland as a young man, gets a summer job in Yosemite, and absolutely falls in love with the place and spends really the rest of his life trying to protect Yosemite Valley from developers and from vandalism and things of that nature. It's because of him that it is a national park and not merely a state park, him and Theodore Roosevelt. So we have a lot to thank John Muir for. And there's quite a few other sources on John Muir you can look at if you have a mind to, and they're in the bibliography also. In chapter 25, we get into the Great Depression, but not so much with the angle you might get in History 202, talking about the causation of the Depression. Rather, Rawls and Bean are talking about the unique California solutions. They talk about people like Amy Semple McPherson, Francis Townsend, and in particular, particular Upton Sinclair, who runs really a quixotic campaign for governor in 1934 with kind of a proto-socialist plan called EPIC, which stands for End Poverty in California. You're going to see how that campaign was really undone as you go on further in chapter 25. So you'll want to look at those, and one thing I'll leave you with is to think about the Townsend plan and the implications that had, because it's because of the Francis Townsend clubs and the movement he started that we have the modern day institution of Social Security. So I'd like you to take a look at that and read very carefully about that aspect of responses to the Depression. Okay, see you next time.